I once again welcome Mr. Sriram Vasudevan sir to continue the session. Sir, I hand over the session to you.
Right, ma'am. Thank you very much. Just give me 1 minute. I'll set up things.
Yeah, sir, no problem.
Yeah. Just give me 1 minute, all of you. I'm just setting up something that I need to show you. Just give me a few minutes.
Yeah, sir, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
Gopinath sir, can you mute yourself? Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Smita. Good
Yes,
morning.
sir. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, I am
Am
audible.
I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
Yeah,
audible. Tell
I'm
me.
able to hear you. Yeah. Let me share my screen.
Ma'am, is there a confusion?
Just a minute, sir. I'll just check. Sir, why do you want to share your screen, sir? Mr. Sir, why do you want to share your screen?
Can you see my screen?
So why?
Yeah. So actually, the hardware part, I'm talking about the packet tracer part. So the hardware part, what about door opening, closing, all the things happening inside the loop. Okay.
Hello, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Hello, sir.
So
Hold on.
the collecting the JWT token here. Collect line number 93. Collecting the JWT token and again passing it to
Mr. Astos, please hold on.
Gomani, disconnect the participant.
Yeah, better.
Yes.
There is some confusion, I believe. Right. Okay. Can you start now?
Yes, sir. I muted him, but like if I remove, he'll not be able to join for us in the afternoon session also. Let me see, ma'am.
No problem. No problem. Let's not take it in a tough spirit.
You continue, sir.
Yeah. This happens. It is part of it. We can't do much. Yeah. Okay. All right. Morning session, it was all about IoT. It was all about cool wearable stuff. But now it is time for us to understand how do we build solutions using deep learning and other related technologies. And understand, I'm going to show you a lot of demos which we have built and which are proven very effective. So all these demos are tried with NVIDIA boards, with Intel boards, and I'm going to show you all of them. It's pretty much easy to do that also. So I'm not scaring you, but one thing that I like to tell you is, remember, deep learning and machine learning is all about mathematics. It is all about mathematics. And if math is not there, nothing is there. So please understand, it's all about including math everywhere. It's all about programming. And the important aspect of it is how do we take it up alongside other technologies. As I told you in the morning, IoT or deep learning or machine learning will be a failure if they are all taken up individually. You need to look into it as a technology which can help, which can make us, which can really be useful when we use it alongside other technologies only. Otherwise, it's going to be a failure, as I told you. So we'll start with the demos. We'll start with the products that we have built using the deep learning and machine learning stuff. So I'm going to show that, and most of them are going to be very interesting, and you can port it onto the wearable technology. What I mean is, this is an Android app, most of which are Android apps that we have developed with machine learning deployed in the background. So what I mean to say is, you can just run this app, show your camera, and that's all, it will work fine. So I already shared my screen, I believe, and you are able to see the screen. Let's go ahead with it.
Yes, sir, we are able to see.
All right. So I'll go ahead with it right now. So I expect everybody to go on mute, please. Let's first understand what is the very important terminology that we are running today. There is a terminology which is artificial intelligence, which is being looked like anything. Artificial intelligence has gained a lot of momentum, and whomever talks about whomever talks, it's all about artificial intelligence only. Why is it, sir? It's very important. Artificial intelligence has gained a lot of momentum because of the available memory, available processor speed, and most importantly, the tools. There are a lot of tools available nowadays for artificial intelligence, starting from Intel OpenVINO, starting from OpenVINO to, if you see, X-ray solutions are there. There are many solutions which are available, which are going to be very helpful for anybody to build any solutions using artificial intelligence. But when you talk about artificial intelligence, it is just not artificial intelligence. It has got AI embedded with machine learning and deep learning. Let's first understand what is it. I told you artificial intelligence, what is it? Can we define that? I'm going to define it quickly, not taking more than 2 minutes. I will complete it. Artificial intelligence is nothing but making a machine think like you and making a machine act like you. That's all. Sir, I am crossing the road, sir. When there is a car, I won't go. I will stop. Similarly, a machine, if you are designing, it should also work the same way, warning you that it should not let you go when there is a car coming. That's it. This is called artificial intelligence. Very simple. We can make it that way. Now, the next important point to be understood is what is machine learning. Sir, it is again very simple, sir. The machine learning is all about getting a machine to do a task. That's it. Whenever I have a machine to do a task, I can call it machine learning. Sir, what do you mean by that, sir? Where do we use it? Very simple. Whenever you are doing some task repeatedly, if you can program it to handle by the machine, we can call it machine learning. I mean, I am doing some task. The task is going to be similar. It will not face much of the changes. In that case, I can automate it and I call it machine learning. Sir, then what is deep learning, sir? Very simple. Here is where the human touch comes. Whenever you talk about deep learning, it is all about connecting how much closer you can go to human. I have a human brain and it is all powered by neurons. The moment you call it as neurons, it comes to neural networks. So if you are using neural networks and if you are finding solutions for deep learning based problems, it is referred as deep neural networks or deep neural learning or deep learning. That's it. I'm going to use neurons, sir. I'm going to use neural networks. I'm going to solve the problems with neurons as the fundamental concepts, and that is called deep learning. That's all, sir. Very simple. Sir, how does it look like, sir? Artificial intelligence is a bigger box. This is the bigger box, the bigger arena. And inside that, we get machine learning as the smaller subset. And inside that, we get a further smaller subset called as deep learning. And remember one very important point, of which I get another subset called as NLP. I have another thing called as NLP, which is called the natural language processing. For instance, you talking to a chatbot and the chatbot replying you properly is NLP. You are talking to Alexa and Alexa giving you a reply properly is NLP. So all these are the topics that are going to come very nicely throughout your career right now. And I wish you guys pick up one of these and get trained. I'm not going to go into the machine learning algorithms and then explain you, but I'll give you a simple touch of what is supervised learning, what is unsupervised, what is reinforced, and what is evolutionary. All these can be fit everywhere. Supervised learning is like me telling my son every day, what is an apple, what is an orange. I keep this example as a consistent example. This is, for example, my wife and this is my son. My son is being taught by my wife every day that, son, this is apple, this is banana. First day she teaches it, second day she teaches it, third day she teaches it, fourth day my son is asked, son, what is this? He will say this is apple and this is banana. This is called supervised learning. I teach, and based on the teaching that you have done, you will get the reply back from the system. This is called supervised learning. And remember, my son is not shown with jackfruit at all. He has never seen this. So if you ask him what is this, he will say, I'm sorry, I do not know. You have never taught me. That's exactly what is supervised learning all about. You train the system will work only on what is being trained. And if you have not trained on something, it won't work. It will say, no, I don't know. That's the answer. Now, again, remember it. When my wife teaches wrongly, for example, if she is purposefully teaching apple as banana and banana as apple, it becomes the same thing into the brain of the child. The child will understand this as banana and this as apple. And what will happen is, one fine morning, if you ask him, he will say that this is apple and this is banana. So the moral of the story is very simple. You teach wrong, you get wrong. Don't train the system wrongly. The system will give you only wrong results. That is exactly what I'm trying to convey. Now, what is unsupervised learning? Very simple. I'll take this example and I'll convey it quickly. I have a baby. This baby is not trained with anything. This baby is a fresh baby and the baby is given with 10 images. The 10 images has got 5 of cat and 5 of dogs. Now, the baby is asked to cluster it. The baby is asked to identify what is what. The baby would not know what is a cat and dog, but the baby would definitely be able to identify similarities between the images, which are all dogs and which are all cats. So the baby will see the tail size, the nose, the face, and it will identify that all these 5 images closely belongs to dogs family. That might not even name it as dogs. Similarly, for the cat, it could identify as cat family. That's it. Very simple. This is called unsupervised. Now, reinforced learning, I'll tell you what is it. It's a simple example. My wife is asking my son, what is it? Son says that it is an orange. But my wife corrects, no, my boy, it is apple. So next time, the son will correct it as apple. So whenever a system is capable of taking feedback and then correcting itself to produce the right result, it is called reinforcement learning. Remember it, don't forget it. Now, evolutionary approach. What is it, sir? You must have seen in the walls of our house that ants are all going properly in the queue. There is nobody who trained them the queue. It will go in the queue. And if you see in the sky in the evening, there will be birds which are flying in a proper pattern. Every day it flies in the same pattern. Who taught it? Nobody taught it. It's in their genes. So this is all called genetics. This is all coming in their genes, and this is called genetics. If you adapt any of these ideas into your system to build a deep learning or a machine learning module, we call it evolutionary approach. Remember it. This is one of the most important areas which is growing like anything. And if you do your PhD or research in this area, your chance for getting a paper published is very high in a very good journal. So this is called the evolutionary approach, which uses genetic algorithms. There are so many genetic algorithms available. You can pick it up and you can try that out in your problem statement. And if you are getting good output, that is it. There is nothing like that. Now, there are a lot of questions that keep going around this particular point. Sir, I do not understand what is classification, what is regression, what is clustering. I took a very simple example and I'm explaining you this. This fits for everything. Remember it. Regression will predict. I am predicting this site as 170. I am predicting this site as 168. This is 100 and this is 95. This is all about prediction. But classification is all about classifying. These two are grown, these two are growing. Now clustering is all about grouping them properly as clusters. This belongs to cluster A, this belongs to cluster B. That's all. This is cluster A, this is cluster B. I group them. That's it. This is the major difference between classification, regression, and clustering. Remember it. With this simple introduction, I go on right away to introduce you with the deep learning possibilities for building solutions which are from wearables, which are from cameras. The first one that I'm going to share is how a solution has been built towards solving the problems that we are having in the retail store. I'll share the PPT first so that you can understand how did we really convey this problem to that company which wanted us to do this. So one second, let me take the PPT and share it. Just give me, am I audible, all of you? Am I
Yes,
audible?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
You're audible.
Audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you. One second. I'm opening the PPT. Just give me 1 second, please. And there is a company called Procter & Gamble. All of you must have been aware of it, right? Procter & Gamble. P&G, all of you know, right? Your products like the diapers, the sanitary napkins, all these come out from P&G. And they conducted a hackathon recently and we got the prize in that. So what did we do? And this is a 100% Android solution. This is very easy to do as well. The only thing is we thought of well and we got a nice problem statement and we could work on it. So what is that? Very simple. We built a personalized store assortment as well as smart space optimization. What do you mean by that, sir? I'll tell you what. Let me take this example and then I give you a picture. If you have gone to supermarket, you will understand very clearly that there are blocks, there are multiple shelves there. There are 5 shelves, for example. This has got, for example, Tide into it. TIDE. This has got some other product, say A, this has got B. Our people will lift this, will see the cost, will put it in their trolley. They will keep moving. If they found a better option, they will not keep this back in the same place where they have kept it. Instead, they will drop it in the shelf wherever they have options to. Correct? This most of you would have seen. Second thing, you must have seen that in a particular shelf, there are many empty slots available and only one product or 2 products are available there, which can be sold. Now, the store owner should know which are all the slots which are empty and where I need to replace it. So we used machine learning and deep learning for achieving this, and we have used the simple approach to get it understood clearly. I'll show you the architecture, and we have used thousands of images of Pampers, Tide, Ariel, Pantene, Whisper, Head and Shoulders. All these have been taken from nearby shops, and we are able to get 100% accuracy for building this. We are able to understand what that particular product is. We are able to identify the misplaced product. We are also able to tell you how many spots are available as free in the slot. So what do? We can use the CCTV footage. You can send the stream as CCTV footage. We can upload the pre-recorded data or use wearable. Very simple. Use your mobile and stream the data. Our system uses fast RCNN, and we have used TensorFlow. First, we have localized it, and then we have classified it. Localization and classification are two important sections of it, and we could also predict the demand. If a particular shelf gets emptied so fast, which means that the product is selling most and there is a demand for that. I'm going to show you the demo for it right now so that my theoretical explanation will carry meaning and you can understand what I wanted to convey. Let me show you how exactly we have built a solution for this particular problem that I have been talking about. This is a very interesting problem. Again, I'm very sure that you will like it. Let me know your opinion after the demo is shown.
Hello. Our system has got two functionalities. The first one is to get the components and the objects in the rack of a supermarket to be identified perfectly. 100% accuracy is what is aimed at, and we are very close to it. For example, if the rack has got Ariel, Tide, Pampers, Whisper, or anything, it will be recognized perfectly, and this is 100% real time. And the accuracy is really appreciable, and we get close to 100% in our testing. The second module is very simple, but yet very effective. We can find out the empty slots in each rack, and we can alert you. Also, people have the tendency to misplace things. For example, I pick up Tide, and when I go along, I find another product which is very interesting. So I drop Tide right there in the place which I found another product. I do not keep it in the same place from where I left it. I mean, Tide did not go back to the Tide shelf. Instead, it went to a different shelf. We can identify that right now. We can identify the empty slots. We can identify the misplaced components also and alert you. This will help people in arranging things back immediately so that...
Sir, can you please increase your volume?
Come again? I didn't get you.
Can you please increase your volume? It is not audible clearly.
Is it not audible for everybody?
It's audible, but very low.
Is it the case for everybody is my question. In that case, I need to increase the volume.
Audible only, sir.
Because if I cannot increase more than this, this is already 100% volume. So please use headphones. Please use headphones.
It will help the people who are buying it. Let's see the first demo initially, and then we will go to the second functionality demo short. For the first demo, we are launching our system, and the input is a video feed that we have taken from the nearby supermarket, and you can see that it's getting launched. The moment it is launched, the world of working is very simple and easier. You can see the Ariel is recognized right now, and it's 99% accurately we are able to recognize, and every time this is functioning fine. Irrespective of the shape, irrespective of the container shape, irrespective of the color, we are able to recognize everything properly. This is because of the extensive training that we have done, and this is all real time and accurate. We can now test any product. We can now identify any product like this, and we have tested it for Ariel. We are going to go to the different color of Ariel package also right now. We have tested Tide, which you can see in the next set of demo as well. We have tested Pampers. All these are working fine, and I am definitely hopeful you will appreciate it. Here you can see that the color of Ariel is different here. I mean, the package, the color, everything is different, but still it works fine. Let us go to the next functionality. This module will help us identify the empty slots as well as misplaced items. Once it is launched, it will perfectly tell you what are all the components in the rack. For example, now Tide is identified properly, irrespective of what color cover it has got, what packaging structure it has got, we are able to identify it accurately, close to 100%. And you can see that misplaced is 0 right now, empty slots is 1. The empty slot 1 is nothing but the one free slot which is available on the left hand side of the rack, and that shows that you can keep one more component there. I mean, one more packet of Tide over there which can be sold. Now, we purposefully misplace Pampers there. The moment you keep Pampers, it is recognized accurately as Pampers, and misplaced item has got Pampers listed into it, which can let the storekeeper know that the items are getting misplaced, and this can be replaced back into the previous place perfectly. Also, we can have one more packet of Tide to be kept there, which can help the customers to pick it up. Now, I am picking up Tide purposefully to see if the empty slots are updated properly. You can see the empty slot is 1 now, but still the misplaced remains the same. It is Pampers which is misplaced into the Tide rack. All these are real time, and we are able to achieve accuracy which is very appreciable, and we are always close to 100% accuracy. We are going to go with some more testing here. I am lifting the Pampers now. Now the empty slots has got increased to 2, and we can keep 2 more packets of Tide here is the message that we are conveying the storekeeper. Now I'm going to lift one more to see if the count increases properly. The empty slots have become 3 right now, which is definitely appreciable. Now I'm going to do the final stuff where you can see that the count gets increased properly. I have taken all the 4 out and 4 slots are empty. This will definitely help us in arranging things in the rack properly, as well as to avoid the items getting misplaced and misarranged in the supermarket. Thank you.
So how was it? Did you all like it? How was it? It is like
Very nice.
you seeing the rack and then you telling. That's what artificial intelligence is all about. Whenever you talk about deep learning, whenever you talk about artificial intelligence, it is like you doing it. Your system should get you solution like what you will think. That's it. That's what is called AI, and that's how we do it with the deep learning solution. Now, what I'm going to show you is a thing which is connected to it. I'll tell you what exactly is that. What happened is when we demonstrated this to Procter & Gamble, they wanted us to show one more thing, and we could build it as well. They wanted us to understand the dimensions of the each and every box. They wanted to know what can be the dimension, and they wanted to record it automated using the Excel sheet. I'm going to send you, I'm going to show you the demo that I have got for this particular thing enabled, and we are able to measure the dimensions real time with such a small reference. I have kept a 1 rupee coin as a reference, and we are able to get the accurate results. See that, and now we are able to measure the dimension of each and every box, so that you can convey that how much clearly, how much boxes can go in there, how much Pampers can be kept in there, how much Tide can be kept in there. I can count the numbers exactly, and I can tell that as well. Friends, in the previous session where I demonstrated you the dimension measurement of some objects using deep learning, I took a pen drive, I took a key, and then we took a hard drive to measure the dimension. But it did not measure any complex objects or different structures like a cuboid or a cube or a square. So today we have done that, and it's working functionally phenomenal and fine. Also, we are able to export the data which we have measured to an Excel sheet real time, and this is all working very nice. I'm going to show you the demo of it right now so that you can understand how exactly it works. First, I have measured a pen drive's dimension right now. You can make a note of it if you wish to check it out later. And now I'm taking a car key. I measured the length and the breadth of the same thing. It's almost 7. So similarly, I'll have to measure the breadth of it. I'm doing that right now, and you can see that the dimensions are all in centimeters. So it's 3.5, 3.6 centimeters. And the next one is going to be my hard drive. You can see that I'm measuring the length, and I'll go to the depth later. I mean the breadth later. You could see that we have got 11 there, and here you could see it is close to 8.1, 8.2 centimeters almost. Similarly, I'm going to take the next one, which is nothing but my remote. So you can see it is close to 14.5 centimeters length, and we need to now measure the breadth of it, and it is going to be somewhere close to 4. Right? Now comes the real problem, where I'm going to take a different object altogether and I'm going to try it out. You can see that this is a box where we are measuring the dimension of it right now. You can see that it's 10 centimeters, almost a 9.910 accurately. So the shape of it and size of it is the same in all sides. So just to verify and validate, we are taking it. There is a mild difference. You could see that it's almost 9.5 here. So now I'm taking a different object, which is yet another different thing. So 10.2, 10.3 is what the measurement is, and here it's measured the other side as well to just get you a clarity of the measurement, and you can see the structure, it's different. Let's run it. and let's try if our system is giving the output as expected. Now you could see that we have got the output of the pen drive predicted properly, and I'm just giving the name of the object so that it could be properly stored in the Excel sheet. That's the reason I have given the name there. And now it is a car key. So I'm giving the name as key. So that's all. The measurement is all going to the Excel sheet, which I'm updating right now in the backend. Now it's a drive. So you can see the measurement is just perfect. There is a mild parallax error that should be in the order of that is also in the order of millimeters. So it's not going to impact that much. And now it is going to be the remote. You can see that it's precise as well. Even the inner components, the keys are coming up very fine, and this is functionally working fine. Now we take the additional objects that we have measured this time newly. You can see that this box is now kept, and everything is very proper and real time. You can see that the dimensions are perfect. In fact, it is very precise, and I've just given the name to store it as I told you earlier. Now let's take the final one where we could test if it is also working fine. And yes, the moment I get it into the vicinity of the system, I mean the camera, this starts detecting, and this is all fine. So the white box is also detected fine. Now where do we go further? We need to see if the data is all entered properly in the Excel sheet, right? I mean the spreadsheet gets all these data real time, and that's what I'm going to show you right now, and you would be able to definitely understand it better. Now you can see that all the data, the height and the width, everything is properly entered here, and this is going to be definitely a good solution for the industries which needs the measurement to be done real time as well as to record it. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, suggestions, please go ahead and type in the comment section, and if you like the channel, please subscribe. Thank you folks. So with this only we were able to win the prize. It is a very simple demo, as well as it's easy to do. It did not take much of time for us to code, but again you need to understand how do we get accurate results. The next thing is going to be pretty interesting, which I'm going to share with you. It is all 100% deep learning solution for understanding the driver behavior and driver monitoring system. So I'm building a series of ADAS and DMS systems. DMS is called the driver monitoring system. ADAS is called the advanced driver assisting system. So the driver monitoring system will monitor if the driver who is authorized only is driving, if there are only 4 people sitting in the 4-seated car, if the driver is properly not having child in the front row, which is prohibited in many countries. You cannot have the child in the front row. So all these are to be monitored, and we need systems for that. I and my team have developed a driver monitoring system, and this system is fully functional right now. And our ambition is to get this for all the low-end cars, including my car, which I have, like Maruti. So Maruti and all will not have these features for all the low-end cars because it is very expensive to implement it. We tested it in the NVIDIA Jetson board, which is not very expensive, which can be afforded by the car makers and which can be afforded by you and me as well. So that's what we are trying to bring into the system to see that, and you will understand how exactly things work. This is called DMS, driver monitoring system. We have built a driver monitoring system which is fundamentally based on camera, like any other driver monitoring system. Normally, the DMS is expected to provide a real-time evaluation of the presence and the state of driver, and that's what we do as well. We are going to monitor the status of the driver in certain aspects. For example, I'm going to first identify whom the driver is based on the pre-trained system. We can allow only certain people to drive our vehicle, and we train our system with the database, with the images of those people who are allowed to drive our vehicle. So the first stage is to identify who is the driver. The driver identification is done. Second part is how many people are sitting in the car is to be evaluated, because we cannot have more than 4 people in a 4-seater car or more than 5 people in a 5-seater car. And the next very important thing is allowing children in the front row of the car. It is prohibited in many countries and it is not allowed. In case of an accident, the children will get impacted very highly, and that's to be avoided. So we are also tracking if the children are sitting in the front row, and we give an alert in case it happens. And the overload alert is also given. For example, in a 4-seated car, if there are 5 people, we pop up an alert saying that this is overload. And now the driver, if he turns his head and shows only his head, if it is full of hair or if he is bald, we cannot recognize the driver, and we have tested it as well. And the most important point, the driver can wear a spectacle or a coolers. We could still recognize it. The driver can wear a headphone or he can wear a headgear like cap. We tested it as well. I'm going to show you all this step by step, and I hope you understand how the system works. Now, if you see that in the screen, we have got the status and the system is launched. You can see that train model, test model, retrain, remove directory, and the exit options are there. First, we are removing all the available pre-trained data so that we can start from the scratch. Now you can see that I'm going to press the option 1. So once the option 1 is pressed, you are ready to train the system. I'm going to enter the ID and name is Ash. Now the training is going to start here. You can see that the person sitting in the right or left can be captured based on the driving system. If you are in Indian system, you will have to go with the right. Similarly, left driving is also allowed. We can set up our system based on the requirement. Now the training has to happen and we need to take about 10 to 15 images at least, and the frame capturing happens right now as you could see in front of you. It is about 10 frames that is sufficient for me to completely get the system ready, but more the images is going to get you better the results. That's a natural phenomena that everybody follows. But for the want of time, we stop it at say around 15 to 20 images, and that is sufficient for us. The training happens, and all these are real time. And how many ever drivers you can, I mean, if you want to allow 5 drivers in your system to drive the car, I need to train the system with 5. So other people will be automatically recognized, and it's a problem there. We will give an alert. Now we are going to test the model, and entry of 2 is sufficient for us. So automatically that testing will start right now. Now you can see that it's recognized as Ash because the driver that we trained is Ash, and the moment he moves out, it was also recognized properly. You can see that now it is recognized as male and not a child. Driver name is Ash and number of people is 1. All these details, number of children is 0. Now when he puts his heads down, when the driver put his heads down, the hair is only seen there, so it cannot understand. And that's a problem. So if hair is too much, also the system is having some problem. But once it's shown properly, that's all determined properly. So now you can see that I'm showing a face of a child through a mobile phone. I did not have a kid near me, so we tested it this way by showing a photo, and you can say that it's very difficult to classify a kid as a male or a female when it is an infant. That's the problem that we face as well. But you can see that it's classified as child most of the time. You can see that when it is closer, it's getting classified because of the shake of the camera. We could find some discrepancies there, but still is fine. And you got an alert message saying children not allowed in the front seats right in the beginning over there. And that's a very important feature. So the next thing to be included is to test the driver with different accessories like the spectacles with earphones kind of stuff. So we are going to do that right now so that we can easily understand our system stability at multiple scenarios. Now, you'll see that right now. You can see that the system is also performing quite well and quite real time. There is no delay, and most importantly, the results are also obtained real time in the background. You could see that. So now I'm going to show a lot of people. I have got a photograph where we've got a lot of people, and the passenger limit is exceeded. All the male females are identified properly, and we got an alert as passenger limit exceeded. So that's a very important point. Now we are going to go with one more scenario. So I'm going to test the model again, but with one more scenario, as I told you, with spectacles, and you can see that it's still nicely recognizing as Ash. That's it. It's a very simple setup, and it's at a very initial stage, but still, this is a very vital system, I believe. And we are going to go with more training content into it, like we are going to train for multiple ethnicity, multiple races also we are going to take up. Now you can see that we have trained the system with the cap as well, and it's recognizing nicely with cap. So all these are done real time, and there is no delay at all. And that's the most appreciable feature that you need to really note into. And that's all. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked it. Now comes the next thing, which is very, very important. I hope you liked it. Video is displayed right now, right? You could see the video, right? Everybody could see the video, right? I want an acknowledgement, please.
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. Right. The next thing that we need to understand is how do we make sure that we are providing the support for the drivers. I can keep a camera there, I can get the data from the camera, and how do we provide support for the drivers? The drivers are really finding it very difficult to drive in Indian roads kind of conditions. Can we give them alert? Can we give them alert if an elephant and say, for example, if a donkey is coming in between, a dog is coming between, or
Sriram sir? Sriram sir, there is no audio. Sriram sir?
My internet got disconnected in between, and
Yeah,
that's
now
the
it's
reason.
audible. Okay.
Yeah, am
Okay,
I
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible, sir.
Right, right. So I got blacked out for a minute. So my ACT fiber net killed me up. Okay. So we have tried to use the camera, as well as we have tried to mount the camera to get all these updates and to help the drivers. The drivers have to be assisted. That's the first and foremost point that we try to do. So let's see if you understand from the demo that I'm going to show you right now. It's a very simple yet a very easy demo to understand. We have detected the vehicles, we have detected the animals, we have detected everything possible out from the current Indian driving scenario, and
Hello.
I hope you'll definitely
Welcome
like it.
In the previous ADAS demo that I have shown you, I mean the advanced driver assisting system demo that I have shown you, we have used the Western countries data set where it was very clean and the traffic rules were obeyed perfectly and no intrusion in between, no two-wheeler came in between. All those were very easy for us to, in fact, do it for the forward collision warning system. Now, what if the same thing has been done for systems where there are intruders in between coming in two-wheelers, or the traffic system is not very highly formulated properly or obeyed properly? That is, if we go with any Asian countries, most of the Asian countries have this traffic congestion systems, and we need to analyze that, and our system should be capable of working in that condition. That's what we have done right now, and I'm going to show you the demo of it right now, and you can see that. Now, this is the typical Indian condition where you could see that it's only 2 lanes available, and everything is getting detected properly. And this is done with the Jetson board, NVIDIA Jetson board, and you can see that the 3 mosquitoes came in. So it's very tough to detect this, and we have done this through extensive training, and it came through a lot of effort. And you can see that everything is getting detected properly, and you got an alert. You can see that danger, go slow. Danger, go slow is coming properly. And I'm going to take through multiple Indian scenarios like this, and you can see the next one right now in front of you in a couple of seconds. You can see that here we are taking the scenario where it is only 1 lane, but we are trying to overtake, and that is a very risky scenario, and we are alerting as danger, slow down. And this is a typical road in Chennai area, and we have taken that video feed, and you can see that the alert is coming for the two-wheelers. I mean the two-wheelers which are coming in between, and all these are real time. You can see that everything is real time, and the ones which are coming in the opposite directions are detected, but we won't get any alert for it unless and until it is in the same lane as you travel. We do not pop up any alert. And this is yet another region which is very congested again, and see the way the two-wheeler guy is going. That's all properly detected, and we are getting alert messages slow down for this. And we are going to go with one more demo right now, which will help you understand how exactly our system is fully functional. It is all easy. Only thing that you need to do is you need to go with a lot of testing again and again and training, and only then you could get this done. And you can see that this is a highway where there are 3 lanes, and in fact, 4 lanes are available. We could detect that properly, and there was an animal in between. Now the night vision. So for the night vision also, it is getting detected nicely, and everything is real time, and it has to be real time. In fact, otherwise the system is a failure. You could see that we are getting the alert for the night drive as well. So all these are done and implemented and fully working right now. I am very happy to show you this, and I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, suggestions, inputs, please go ahead and type it in the comments.
Now, first part is done, right? I have shown you the condition for Indian driving. Now I will show you how exactly the driving discipline is maintained abroad. This footage is taken from Boston, so you could see that and you could understand how exactly it is useful.
We have developed something very new, and it's going to be very interesting for you. I'm going to show you the ADAS system, driver assisting system, which is going to help the drivers in finding if they are going to collide with the cars that are going in front. It is called forward collision detection. We are going to do that. And also we are detecting if there is a lane change which is happening and another car is going to come into your lane real time, and we will alert you. If you are going very close to the previous car, I mean the car just before you, we will give you a message like you are dangerously close to them. But otherwise, we'll keep monitoring and we'll give you all the output real time. This is a beautiful attempt, and I'm going to show you the results right now, and you will be able to appreciate it once you see it, I believe. Let's go ahead with the demo. I'm launching it right now, and it will take half a minute for me to just set up the system, and it's a real-time video feed that we have taken and we have pushed it onto the system that we have built. You can see that in the left-hand side corner, right-hand side, all are the processing, and we have processed that way. And the left corner here, you can see that we get the distance very clearly notified. And when I'm going very close, you can see that it will be giving us an alert. This is not dangerously close. It's close, but when you go dangerously close, you'll get an alert. You can see that now, dangerous. The message has come. So this will help the drivers in understanding that is it a safe distance to follow the car that is just before you and ahead of you, and they can take decisions accordingly. You can see that the cars coming in the opposite directions are also measured in such a quick time frame. Now it is dangerously very close. And we have also been able to detect the lane change, which you will see right now in a few seconds time frame. And all these feed are analyzed real time, and you can see the edges which are detected, and this has a lot of computation inside. And this feature is available in many modern and high-end cars, but not with the low-end cars. Now, when you go closer, we get the alert every time, real time. We can also have a voice over there saying that don't go close, stay away kind of alert can be given for the drivers to be safeguarded. You can see that now we are going to have a lane change detection right now happening. That will be also detected quickly. And you can see that the car on the left-hand side, lane change, it's detected. So it's also detected very quickly, and it's absolutely real time. And one thing that is required in all these real-time systems is it has to be a really real time, and we could get that here, and hope you liked it. Thank you. This was very neat, and it was very easy to process. The moment you get a neat data set where there are rules followed, it is very easy for you to follow it, and it is very easy for you to build system around it. But it was very challenging for us to get it in the Indian scenarios. Now, what are we doing is I'm collecting the, in fact, I have collected the data set from the Coimbatore roads. I'm breaking my head as in how do we implement it, because we do not have great rules being followed. People do not following the rules here properly. So we have a problem there, and we are trying to sort it out. And whatever questions you have, we can post it in the chat box. I will respond to it by the end of the session. Maybe last 10 minutes I have always reserved for my Q&A, so we will answer that. I'll answer all these questions, so keep posting the question. I'll answer all of them together. Okay, right. The next one is going to be again with ADAS, but this time it is for detecting the drivers who smoke. This is a major problem in our country as well as abroad. They smoke and it is prohibited actually. They drink and it is prohibited. And most importantly, they use mobile phones while driving. It is also prohibited. We are able to capture all this, and we could get good results. You can see that here. This smoking is detected, and a message immediately gets flashed on screen. Smoking, drinking, and mobile phone usage is prohibited is coming, and you can see that. We are able to detect the cigarette as well as we are able to detect the smoke properly, and either of them will be helping us to identify that this particular person is smoking. And you can see more results out there. I'm going to show you more results which are very encouraging, and you could see that now we are detecting the guys who are trying to drink, and drinking is prohibited is what the message we got here. And the next one is again going to be very interesting. From the side angle, we are able to detect the cigar, and understand one point, the cigar can be white in color or black in color or any color, we are still able to detect it. So it's easily doable right now, and we could get alert immediately thrown. And the next one is following you right now. From the front angle, side, and every side of it, we are able to get it nicely. And that's how you should train your system. And the mobile phone usage right now, we are able to get the bounded box properly over it, and we are able to get it nice.
and we could alert immediately. Don't use mobile. Don't use mobile. This lady is driving. Now it is a bottle to drink. This guy is trying to drink from the bottle, which is also not allowed, and we are trying to alert it, and you could see that we are getting it detected. Now this is most difficult thing to detect because vodka is almost watery in color. So we are taking the cover, the color, and many things into consideration to train this because water is also like vodka when you compare it mostly. So we are able to detect it. I'm a non-drinker, so it is very difficult for me to identify all this initially. Now I could do that by referring to all the data and the videos. This one is again beer. So wherever you keep it, even if you don't drink it, if it is there, we'll be able to detect it. So it's perfectly detecting. And all these are real time. That's the most important point that you need to understand because when you process it and give the data late, it's not useful. So it has to be really real time. And yeah, we need to go with it. Can we use wearable device for women's safety? Of course, yes. For everybody's safety, we can use it. Now, I'm going to show you something very interesting next. I've been talking for a long time now, so I'm going to show you something very interesting which I have worked along with another professor in my university by name Mr. Gautam. So what we have done is we have researched about the elephants which are intruding. If the driver is drank, how will I overcome it? I'll answer all these questions. All these are again hypothetical questions that we can answer it. Just wait for some more time. The human elephant conflict is a major problem that we have in the society right now. The elephants are coming into the tracks, railway tracks. They are getting hurt. The elephants are invading the cultivated fields, and it has to be avoided. And most importantly, we need to make sure that the elephants are not killed. Most of the places when the elephants intrude, people are killing it. We have seen the recent incident in Kerala where they blasted the elephant with small setup which they have made, and it's not correct. So we need to prevent it. So what we do is very simple. We want to save the humans. We want to save the elephants as well. So we have built a system with deep learning and IoT together, and that's going to be demonstrated to you right now. And you will see that right exactly now. I'll answer all the questions of Yasmin, Meenakshi, Sundari, Rogini, Vijay and everybody. Just wait for some more time. Let me complete it. I've got another couple of demos which I can show you, which are very interesting, I believe. See this. This is a very interesting project, and I hope you will definitely love it. This has got a lot of deep learning and IoT together. Hello, friends. Welcome back. In this session, we are going to see a demonstration that is meant for avoiding the human-elephant conflict. This was built by a team headed by Dr. Gautam. I was working in that for some time. And there were about 4 or 5 professors who worked in this, and they built this system. This system is called a human-elephant conflict avoidance system. What is it? Why do we need it? I'm going to explain it. Also, I'll show you a demo clearly on how does the system work. Now, first understand one point. Elephant has become a rare species as well. In India also, it has become a rare species. Indian forests hold 60% of the Asian elephant population. The habitat ranges for the elephants in the country are more or less fragmented and impacted due to increased human activity. We have penetrated into all the regions, and the elephants have to go out of that region. Now, we are occupying the places of many animals, and the elephants is one of them, which is also affected because of our move to everywhere. The loss and the fragmentation of elephant habitat leads to serious conservation problems in India. And human-elephant conflict, we call it HEC. It is an important conservation issue in India, especially in the forest fringes where protected areas are covered by highly fertile and cultivatable lands. Now, the problems that are faced because of this human-elephant conflict is the elephants go for crop raiding. They injure people who come in the opposite direction when they go for crop raiding, and it has caused death to n number of people already. And deaths are caused to humans by elephant. Deaths are caused by elephants to humans as well. So it's vice versa. So it happens both the ways. So, and the most important point is crop loss is also happening while the elephants are also getting killed. Humans are also getting killed. This is not only for crop and related stuff and agriculture related stuff. This also happens in the railways. You can see that we could have seen a lot of news articles that have come and covered the news that the rail which was running, the train which was running has hit an elephant and it was killed. So we have seen these messages a lot of times, and that's also one of the impact that we want to solve.
If we can get an alert about the movement of the elephant well in advance, we can prevent people from getting injured. We can prevent elephants from being attacked. We can also get the crop loss avoided totally, because we can divert the elephant by burning some crackers or something like that. We have solutions available, but most of them are incomplete or not fully functional, I would say. So we need a solution for it, and we are here to provide you that. So we have used the seismic sensors and computer vision plus deep learning together to do that. We cannot just rely on deep learning, or we cannot just rely on sensory data. So we have combined these two to get a very solid system that is going to give you 100% accurate result. A and B is always better than A or B. Here A is sensors and B is camera. We are going to use the seismic sensors that will get the vibration, the pattern of vibration from the elephant. Whenever the elephant walks, I get the vibration. The seismic sensors get activated and they give you data. The camera is going to give you real-time feed, and we are going to use our intelligent DL algorithm, which can predict and understand if elephant is coming based on the training that we have used. We are passing it real time, and I'm going to show you a very simple but a real-time demo that we have captured in Kerala sometime back, and all these are very interesting. You can see that we have already planted the seismic sensors in this part of the elephant, and our video feed is detecting, I mean our system is detecting from the video feed the elephant properly, the bounded box. The elephant is nearing, and the seismic sensors will get us the data. And we have already collected a lot of data, I mean the seismic data from the elephants, and we are now comparing it with this data. And if there is a match, if there is a close resemblance, we confirm that it is the data because of the elephant nearing us. Because when there is a tree fall, that could as well generate seismic data. When there is some other animals walking or running around, that could generate data. All these are to be avoided, and this false data should be curtailed, and that is done through comparing it with the previously available data that you have collected through a lot of hardware. Now you can see that this biggie is coming in front of you, and it's going to walk over the seismic sensors that we have already planted. It's walking, and I'll show you where exactly the sensors are plotted, and you can see that the moment it nears, there is a variation in the data, and meanwhile, our system also processes the image, and you can see that it's getting detected most appropriately, and we can alert. With that, we can immediately send a signal. You can see that the variations are all real time and perfect, and we can send out a signal immediately to the concerned authorities or to the villagers to see that there is an elephant coming, be careful, or burn a cracker to avoid further damages. And this is all implemented and tested. As you can see, we hope to develop it to the next level to avoid further damages for elephants as well as for the human. This is the system developed for human-elephant conflict avoidance. This is right now being developed for right now being developed for the railways as well, where we are trying to implement it to avoid the railway run and hit and run cases, wherever the elephant comes and they are hit and the loco pilot cannot do much about it. So we are trying to avoid it. And now I'm going to show you something which we have done very nicely with deep learning with just a wearable. We are able to tell you if you are stressed or not. A real-time stress analyzer. You'll see the demo right now, and it's pretty easy for you to understand and to use as well. So these kind of sensors are all available in the market. I will circulate a sheet after the session where I'll probably give it to Gomati ma'am, and she can circulate it once I send her. So that will have the list of sensors that you can use for deep learning, and they are all available in market. Let's see the demo of it. How do we decide if you are stressed or not? If you are stressed, I can get a message saying that don't be stressed.
Hello friends, here we see a very simple setup with the same brainwave detector. We have got a project done now. It will just get you an alert if your attention level is going below a certain extent. We have got a threshold, and when the threshold is crossed, you will get an alert message, and we have written code for it. And you can see the same setup here in the same head that I have shown you earlier. So the same thing, and it's clamped to the ear, and that is it. It's very simple. Now you see that we are compiling the code right now, and once it is done, you will take about a few seconds to get it settled down first, maybe about 20 seconds for settling down. And then once it is done, you can see that the real-time data is coming, and if the attention is getting deviated, which means below 50, you will get a message. You can now see that in a message where we get right now attention levels low.
That's it. It's a very simple Python code that we have written, and it is all real time with the same equipment that I've explained you in my previous video. That's it. It's pretty simple, and you can see the data coming real time out here. This is all real time data, whatever we have received, and that's it. Thank you.
So this can be used to analyze if a particular person is stressed or not too much. The device is 13,000 rupees, but there are multiple lower versions of the devices are available which you can buy. There are multiple devices available. Only thing is you need to pick the right one. I'll give you the device details also. It is being analyzed real time with your data that the sensor acquires, and we do a little bit of deep learning there to understand if the data acquired is meaningful. The next one is going to be very interesting. I have not yet completed it, but still I can show you the demo of it. With a simple camera, or you can have any sort of capturing device through which I can analyze your heart rate. I'm going to get your heart rate, and it's going to be very interesting, because if the doctors want to check your heart rate sitting at a remote place, they can now do that. So I'm going to show you that, and this is the estimate of heart rate. We are not at 100% complete with it, but I could get around 80% accuracy. So we are still building it further, and you could see it right now.
Innovative approach of estimating your heartbeat just through your video. We do not have any intrusive techniques for this, and we are doing it just with a simple Python code with our algorithm running it. I believe this is an innovative approach, and I'm going to show you the demo right now in front of you. Stay tuned. You can see the live demo here. It's a Python code that we have written, and it has got some algorithm that I'm going to explain you a little later. For now, we'll see the demo. I'm running the code. The moment I run the code, it will ask me for some details that you can see right now in front of you. I'm going to enter my name. It is asking me for the name. I have entered. It is asking me for my age, gender, and if it is already there in the database, I can check. No, it is not already there. I'm testing it for the first time with this name. So I need to save it first, and then I can go for a done. When you do that, the camera immediately will start working for me, and it should be launched. It may take few seconds to maximum a minute to get this launched, because the code has to all run inside. So we expect a little delay there. But otherwise, this is much faster and real time. Friends, you can see that I have got my heart rate estimate perfectly. And this is all done real time. This is just the initial version of it. We are able to get a very close heart rate detail in few seconds. It settles in perfectly. But this has to be improved further. We may have to enhance our algorithm a little bit, and at the same time, we need to do a little bit of troubleshooting here and there to get this figure precisely. We are also getting something very interesting, which is the plot that you are seeing right in front of you. All these are done, again, I'm telling you, real time. Thank you very much for following this. I'll get back to you with more updates.
I am still working on it. It needs a little bit more time for us to get that complete in all aspects. It is not complete in all aspects. You could see that there is a lot of variation here and there for me to settle down, which should not be the case, because when you run heart rate related algorithm, it has to be a perfect data that you need to give back to your customers who are using it. So we are working on it. The next one is going to be pretty interesting, and it's a 6-minute demo that I'm going to show you. And the 6-minute demo will tell you how to combine IoT and deep learning together. Because as I have been telling you from morning, no technology nowadays is going to be standalone technology. It's all going to be combined with other things. So I'm going to measure, I'm going to understand if the driver has dozed away or not, if the driver has slept or not, if the driver has lost the concentration or not, both through IoT and deep learning. The deep learning will help me with eye aspect ratio detection. The IoT will help me with understanding the data from the sensors, which is plotted real time in the car. I'm going to show you the sensors that I have used in the car, and I hope you will definitely like it. And I'll answer you the questions once the session is all done. So don't worry, keep posting the question.
Project is very important, and this will certainly be very helpful for everybody who is driving a car, particularly in highways. So we have come up with an innovative solution towards tracking drivers who often tend to go drowsy. And 21% of the fatal accidents are because of being drowsy. And people even say that being drowsy is much more dangerous than being drunk. So that at least will have some level of cautiousness, or that at least will let you be alive. I think being drowsy kills more people than being drunk. So our solution is very simple. Our solution really gets you a complete analysis about if a driver is sleepy or not, and it is called as highway. It's called as highway hypnosis, or it is called as white line fever. One would understand that. One would understand the architecture when I explain it. It's actually a very simple architecture. I have used two things. One is the camera, another one is OBD. OBD is onboard diagnostics, which I will explain shortly with the complete demo, as in where I plug it, how I plug it, how to get the data. Everything will be clearly explained. You can see the demo there. But before that, I also will tell you how do we use the camera. In this system, we are expected to mount the camera just above the steering, which is going to be very stable. We expect you to do that. And once it is done, our algorithm will run inside, which will predict EAR value. EAR is nothing but eye aspect ratio, which will help you in understanding the eyes, which means if it is going to be drowsy or not. That's one of the parameters that we definitely take in, and that will help you to understand if the driver is about to be drowsy or driver is very active. That's one of the very important parameters. And the second one, why we use OBD, is very simple. The OBD is onboard diagnostics, which is going to give us multiple data, but one of those very important data that I'm going to use is speed variation plus steering angle. Why speed variation for this project is to be explained. If the driver is drowsy, the speed will not be varied as frequently as he could vary it when he is very normal and active. So it will go on a stable speed, which means that the driver is drowsy. It could also happen in a way that in a highway, one person would want to always lock to 150 kilometers per hour or 120 kilometers per hour. So we connect it along with the facial reactions which we catch through our camera. So we do an A and B, which is nothing but A is your EAR, B is nothing but your speed. And the next point that we are going to take is your steering angle. So if the person is sleepy, definitely the steering, the person is going to be drowsy. Certainly it is not going to, the steering is not going to move quite often as he could do when he is very, very active. So these two parameters in turn are collected, and these two are sent to the server. My OBD will help me with the help of a Bluetooth transmission. I take the data and I put it onto the server, and the server will have all those data, and then it is read through a JSON script, and then it goes onto the Python script, and we analyze everything through the Python script, whatever we are writing, and data analytics has been done there as usual. As every IoT application, whatever we build as data analytics, we build it very strongly there, and the receiver will now start alerting. The receiver module actually analyzes, it helps you in understanding if the driver is sleepy or not, and it will raise an alert. The alert can be given to anybody whom you wish, because you have built a system very comprehensively. It can also sprinkle water on the face of the driver if you wish to do so. This is the overall system. Now the next part of it, you will see the plotting that happens for the EAR value, that will help you in understanding the system better. Thank you. So the project is all about using this ELM 327, which is called as OBD, onboard diagnostic. Every car has got a slot to fit this OBD, which can communicate to my mobile phone through an app. So I got an app installed in my mobile, and that communicates through the app. And most importantly, we have got a lot of apps available in the market. I have installed something called as OBD Car Doctor. So OBD Car Doctor is the app that I have installed, and there are so many apps available in the market really. So you can take any one of those. Now, how do you connect this? OBD is the biggest deal that you need to really understand. Initially, I had also some problem in identifying where exactly to plug it in, because it is very, very small, and you will not even guess that there is a slot available like this. And there is where I'm going to connect it. Now, the moment you connect it, you started feeding in the data to my app, which means the OBD really gets working, and I can get the data live real time. So how do I get it, sir? This is the app that I have got it. So I'm going to search for the current data. So it may take half a minute because my machine is a bit slow. So in that you can see engine RPM, so many parameters, engine cooler temperature, so many are there. So I'm going to just increase the RPM now, and you can see the real time increase here. So you can see that suddenly it has rise to 3554, and it's all real time, and you can see that the spikes are also coming. So not only this, we have used steering angle data, we have used the speed, we have used fuel efficiency data. Everything is available there in the OBD, and you can see that everything is possible. So the world is so small,
and this equipment is so small, which can give you a lot of data for you to really go ahead and do a lot of investigation. So this onboard diagnostics, many other tools are available. This is a minimum version of the onboard diagnostics tool that we are having. So we can buy the best one also, which will give you more data. This is a minimal one, and this car also gives you only minimal data. This is a small lower end car. So if you go for a higher end car, probably you will get all the data that you want, and you can do a lot more innovation.
Now you could see that I'm now getting the data real time through the deep learning and the EAR, eye aspect ratio. When the concentration is lost, if the eyelids are closed, I'll get a message as you are deviated, and that could come in the left hand corner. You could see that in the left side. Keep watching it. The data is consistently coming. When there is a deviation, yeah, you got it deviated, and I got a message there. That's it. So we've done it in a very simple way, and this is a combo. So whenever you talk about deep learning, it has to be a combo of a couple of other technologies together, as I regularly say. Before we go into the final one, I've got one more thing that I need to show you. Please start using, if you want to learn deep learning, please start using something called as OpenVINO. I have typed the name of it in the chat box. The OpenVINO is something which is phenomenal, that is released by Intel OpenVINO as we call it, and deep learning is going to be changed the way it looks like right now because of OpenVINO. I have completely demonstrated that in my channel. There is a full-length demo that I have given. So in this short duration of time frame, it is extremely difficult for me to explain you how exactly it works. But to show the power of OpenVINO, I can show you one simple demo that I have done there. I can estimate your poses, and I can estimate your emotions. I mean, how much emotional are you? I can get the emotion, like how much angry are you, how much sad are you, how much happy are you, because you cannot ever say that you are 100% happy, you are 100% sad. 100% sad emotion is never possible, 100% happy emotion is never possible. So what is the combination of the emotions is what I'm able to get using this OpenVINO. Also, I'm able to guess the poses. I can estimate the poses right now. See that.
I'm going to show you some wonderful demo with
if you want any help in installing OpenVINO, or if you are having any difficulty in installation or anything related to it, you can reach me anytime through email ID. As an internal innovator, I'll be able to help you, and if I can't help you, I can connect you to people who can help you.
OpenVINO tool that I have already taught you in my previous session. So I'm going to show you the post estimation app that is available there by default. So I have just installed it and I have tested it out. See the way it is working, really phenomenal. And this is highly real time, and you would really love it. I'm going to show you two different examples. One is for post estimation, and another one is for the emotion detection. So you can see that this is all real time. The moment I move, I make a movement, everything, this is all tracked. Absolutely stunning and absolutely real time. And you guys can test it out, and if you want any help, probably I can do that also. This is easy, simple, and very interesting. I'm going to show you the next one right now, which will be much more interesting. The only thing that you need to know is these commands are a bit long, so you need to really understand how exactly to interpret these commands. So I'll probably teach a session on how do we understand these commands. That itself is really challenging. So you're going to now see the emotion detection. I'm going to show you all my emotions right now. I'm neutral. I'm angry right now. They say this is surprise, and you can see that, yeah, my eyes go up and this is surprise. And now I'm angry. All these are real time, and my age is reduced here, 34. I'm happy about it. It is actually 36, but this is closely accurate. So this is all done with OpenVINO, and this is very simple. So you guys can try it out. I hope you like this demo. Thank you very much for following the content and channel. If you have any questions, suggestions, inputs, please go ahead and type it in the comment section. And if you need any,
OpenVINO is capable of doing more things. Remember, whatever I have done is a very simple thing, and it is not rocket science. It's pretty simple. Anybody can do it, and anybody can try it out. One final demo that I'm going to show you with deep learning that I have built is how to detect the COVID-19 cases, and we are able to detect it accurately. There are many cases which have been reported following the same method, and they are also able to detect. But I could tell you that we have made it a little more intuitive, and it is a better solution, I would proudly say. We can see the demo, and with that, I'll open the forum for questioning. So please listen to it carefully. I have explained everything pretty clearly.
we are going to show you the demo of the system that we have developed. diagnostics is live right now. Before I go into the demo, I'd like to explain you how the system works. We need to upload the input image, and based on the algorithm that we have developed, the input image will be classified as COVID negative, pneumonia, or COVID positive. And all this happens within seconds. Our system has got two stages, where in the first stage, we will determine if the input image has got pneumonia. And in the second stage, we will further identify if the pneumonia is COVID-19 pneumonia or non-COVID-19 pneumonia. And most important point, the first stage, the accuracy is close to 95.6%. And in the second stage, the accuracy is 100% with the images that we have trained. And we understand that this doesn't take much time as well, and it is all very fast. I'm going to show you and explain you all the features step by step now. First, let us have a look at the data set, whatever we have collected. You can see all these are the images that we have collected for the purpose of the building this machine. And 150 images is what we have taken right now in our hand. So the next step is to understand how our dashboard is configured. The dashboard has got a lot of information. It has the total cases, recovery cases, and deaths all over the world. And all these are tracked from WHO. When you click get more info, you get the complete details as well, which is presented very neatly with a simple UI in front of you. Now, the system is used for analyzing, right? So the system specific detail are also presented in front of you. COVID negative, pneumonia, COVID positive, and how much is the stat is also presented in front of you very clearly for the doctors to understand what is happening. Now comes the upload part. This is very simple and intuitive. Click browse, select any image that you want, any patient's image that you want to be tested, click open, and then go to upload. Once this upload happens, it all takes just seconds. You can see that right now, the internal analysis goes on. First, pneumonia will be checked. Then if it is COVID-19 pneumonia will be checked. Now here you can see that it is all normal and the patient is not a patient at all. So the next case, I'm uploading another image to understand how exactly is the result coming. I'm taking another image here, selecting, opening. Now upload happens. Yes, it is getting uploaded. You can see that it's really very fast, and we made the interface and UI very simple because even only the doctor need not use our system. Even the rest of the people should use. So pneumonia is the result that has come here for this input, and don't worry, you will get better in no time is the message that we are throwing. And the third case I'm going to take up, I'm going to take another image where you will see what exactly is the result that we are getting. I clicked open, I've uploaded it. Now it takes time for it to throw the result. And we'll first analyze there is pneumonia. Second, it is going to be COVID-19. So if there is COVID-19, we'll get a result as COVID-19 positive. Oh no, consult your specific doctor immediately is the message that we have given. So see that one final image I'm going to upload to show the system's functionality one final time. So upload is clicked and let's wait for the result. Once it is done, we get the result immediately. Yes, again, it is a COVID-19 positive image that we have taken. So overall, you can understand that our system is simple, effective, as well as intuitive. This is faster, and this can help doctors in getting the decision much more faster, and the patient's lives can also be saved. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
That's all. I'm done with it, and I'm tired. It's continuous 3 hours talking. So I hope I have conveyed whatever I have to convey. And I did not bore you guys, is what I feel. If you have any questions, I can answer that. Before that, let me scroll through the questions that I've already got. Sir, for all these processing, do we need high power processing? Yes, for developing the system, yes, you need a high power system. I used NVIDIA Jetson board. It's not that high power, but still, yes, we need that. Sir, how many hidden layers you are using for each of this application? It varies. Minimum of 16 to maximum of 32 is what I have been using. So it depends. Sir, can we do it with i3? No, i3 will die. i3 will commit suicide if you use this. Can you use wearable technology for safety of women? Yes. There are a lot of technologies, there are a lot of systems that have been built for safety for women. Particularly in shoes, people are building a lot of solution with IoT in place. If I hit my shoe thrice in the same pattern, it means that the girl or the guy is in trouble and they'll have to be helped. So these kind of systems are already available. Sir, if the driver is drunk actually, if the driver is drunk, how to overcome it? No, we cannot overcome it. We can have some sensors like MQ05 to detect it, and he can be stopped from driving the vehicle. But our system won't detect it because we are aimed at detecting if the driver is currently drinking. So how do we exactly differentiate vodka and plain water? Right. It's not with sensors, it's with training. There is a mild difference in the water and the vodka the vodka will look little salty. So we have trained that literally, and with training only we are able to do it, Meenakshi Sangam. Will it be a safe kind of system? I do not know. Which system are you referring to, Sudarbidi Durai? So you need to tell me which system are you referring to. Which device is employed for measuring the stress? It's called NeuroVina, I think. NeuroVina, yeah. It's a system that we are using. So that gets you the data. What is the cost of stress detecting device? It's 13,000 rupees. How is the real-time stress being analyzed? Please name the device. I already named it. What algorithm is used for stress detection? It's deep learning algorithm that we have developed, and that's through the camera. And the camera, when you focus, IR camera, when you focus, the color that we get back is being used. How the heart rate is measured. That's what I'm telling you, right? It's partially done. So I do not want to comment anything on the heart rate analyzer as of now. So I'll have to wait. Nice presentation, nice work. Thank you very much, Arul Murugan sir. Do I have an app in mobile using Intel OpenVINO to tell my emotion now? No, you do not have any mobile app. COVID-19 data set from where we got? I got it from my friend who is working in University of Southern California. So we could get somewhere close to 300 images, and with which we have built the project. All are very informative session. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wearables for elderly people falling down. Yeah, I have already built it, and you can check my YouTube channel. And I have a startup on that also, Lupus Biotech, as I told you, and we won the first prize in the Hack Harvard University Hackathon last year for it. I visited Harvard University for that. So we have done that. Thank you very much, all of you. And I would like to now hand over the session to the organizers for them to conclude it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative session on Internet of Things and the machine learning. So we have got an experience of through your demos and videos, we have got an experience of how and what are all the things that could be done in this area. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody, for patiently listening. It's wonderful interacting with you. If you